Tuesday, September 16th, 2025. Welcome to the Pull University show. Have a seat. All right, class is in session. So, firstly, my name is Ephraim. I'm 25 years old. I'm from America, and I've moved here to London to have 30 days of filming to demonstrate to you my playbook that I've created. Now, firstly, you see the title. I got rejected all day today. All day, all day, all day. And I can't wait to tell you about it. But before we get into the day itself, I just wanted to normalize myself and then go over how I'm able to respond to rejection nowadays because this was not always the case. So yeah, I'm 25 years old, and just a couple of years ago, my dating life sucked. I was swiping on apps all the fucking time, getting no dates lined up. If I did ever get a date from a dating app, it was usually a chubby girl that I wasn't even attracted to. But I was like, fuck, I haven't had sex in 10 months, so this will do. And I know that a lot of guys are in the same position because that's where a lot of my clients are in, the position a lot of my clients are in when they reach out to work with me for private coaching. So 2 years removed from that, and now my dating life rocks. I go on dates whenever the fuck I want. In fact, I have so many dates lined up that I give out my fake phone numbers to these girls that I'm approaching here in London because I just don't have the time to go on the dates. I'm more focused on content and changing the world and changing the lives of my clients that I currently am working with and future clients who want the skill set as well. So that's how drastically different my life is now. All right, keep in mind, same guy, same haircut, same nose ring, same height. I'm 5'9". And just 2.5 years ago, I was going 10 months, 12 months at a time without getting laid, swiping on apps, getting drunk with my roommate at the time. We were going out to bars, we were checking out girls. We were going, hey, she's hot, go over. And then he'd go, oh, she's not hot enough. Then he'd look at me and he'd go, Ephraim, what about her? You should go over. And I'd go, oh, I'm not drunk enough yet. And we'd do that all night. None of us would ever chat to any of the girls. We'd go home, dick in hand, sad, horny, lonely. And that was our reality every time we went out. So between going out to bars and nightclubs and getting drunk and doing nothing, between swiping on dating apps for hours at a time, days at a time, and getting no result, and trying to hit on coworkers when I had in-person jobs. That's what I used to do. I worked at a restaurant. I worked at a grocery store when I was an early adult, and that's exactly what I would do. I'd try to hit on the coworkers that I was working with because, well, there's familiarity there, so it's a little bit easier to get a date that way, isn't it? Rarely ever worked, and it always made the workplace a little bit awkward the next day when I did try to shoot my shot with my coworkers. All right, so the reason I'm saying all this is because I don't do any of that stupid shit anymore. In fact, I even had a phase when I was about 20 years old where I deep dived into the mystery method. I read the book like 3 times, and I was watching all the videos on it and shit, and I was planning how to peacock, and I was planning out a funny outfit. I actually did try to use it one time. Oh man, I remember I went to a Walgreens and I bought a little like prop hat. I forget exactly what it was, and then I went to this like Latin bar. I was 20 years old. I had a fake ID because you got to be 21 in the States. And I went to this Latin bar with this funny little top hat or whatever I was wearing, some weird hat and some funny little outfit, right? Because I learned about peacocking from the mystery method. And I walked into this Latin bar. Somehow the bouncer let me in, even though my ID was clearly fake. And I didn't do a fucking thing. I didn't chat to a single girl. I just remember I was drinking Coronas. There was another guy that was sitting on the outskirts alone, drinking a beer, not saying anything to anybody. And so I walked over to him and I tried to like spark conversation with this guy because I was alone at the bar. I didn't know what to do. There's people dancing. I was too scared to dance. I was too scared to chat to the girls that were around. And I tried to talk to this guy, and then like 5 minutes into the conversation, he just gets up and he walks to the other end of the bar, and then he sits down again. But like clearly, he was clearly trying to send the message that he did not want to talk to me, right? And I was like, fuck. What am I even doing? I had no idea how to go to bars, how to chat to girls, how to get laid. I had no idea. And it sucked, right? That's the phase of life that I was in for the majority of my life, the first 23 years. And nowadays, right, I just told you that I have so many dates that I don't even know what to do with them. I give out a fake phone number because I do not have time to go on these dates. And what I would rather do instead of going on them is I would rather teach other guys how to generate the dates for themselves so that they can have the dating life instead of watching me have the dating life on YouTube because that sounds like a sad existence to me. So look, if you're a guy who's already familiar with my content and you keep watching and you keep watching and you know you want to take action but you're just too scared to and you're trying to do this on your own, but every time you go out, you're filled with that anxiety. You're filled with that resistance. Oh my God, there she is, but I'm too scared. Now your heart beats faster. It skips a beat. Now your stomach drops. Yeah, now you start to shake a bit. Your palms start shaking and sweating. And you think back to my videos and you think back to how easy I make it look, and you go, why is it so hard for me? It's because this isn't easy to do on your own, all right? I couldn't do it on my own. I hired help. I hired somebody to teach me because I couldn't do it on my own. So for those of you who are watching my content closely and trying to do this on your own and you're running into the same problems and you're living the same day over and over again, just click the link in the description below and apply to work with me in person because I can just expedite this entire process for you. Okay, I help the clients that I've helped them in 72 hours or less. All right, 3 days, you come work with me. Firstly, we eradicate the fear of walking over. I teach you how to get the fuck over that fear. Then once you're actually walking over, I teach you what to say. I teach you how to stand. I teach you how to stop her. I teach you the technique. All right, that part doesn't take that long either. And then the rest of the immersion, right? So this is probably about day 2 to day 3 would be me teaching you conversational tactics, how to keep an engaging conversation going, how to get the girl interested, how to have a more of a romantic conversation, sexually charged conversation versus a platonic one, and then how to close for her details. Yeah, how to go for a date, how to line up the date, how to reduce the rate at which she doesn't show up to the date or the rate at which she ghosts you. This is all stuff that I've spent months at a time refining. I call it my playbook, my quiet confidence playbook. And rather than you trying to recreate the wheel, I just give it to you, right? So you come work with me, you pay me money, and I give you my playbook in return. And I'm out in the field with you. I've got my arm around you. I'm helping you over this fear, all right? I'm pushing you into approaches, yeah? And then I start to turn the dial up a bit. We continue to push your comfort zone each and every day until by the end of day 3, you don't need me by your side anymore. And then you can return to your home city and you can start approaching on your own. And it doesn't look too far off of how mine looks anymore. Yeah. The problem with trying to figure this out on your own, and the reason why I didn't even attempt to, is because there are things that you're doing that are wrong that I could see and I can correct like this. Yeah. Within 10 seconds, I can go, okay, the way that you're stopping her is way too aggressive. You're getting way too close. You probably can't tell because you think that you're leaving enough space. But I can tell you right now, she's stumbling. She's about to run into you. This is why she doesn't want to talk to you, right? That took me 5 seconds to identify. And you might do that for 50 approaches until you finally realize, maybe I'm standing too close. I'll watch you do it once and I'll go, yeah, that's wrong. Let's fix that now. We'll demonstrate it together. I'll demonstrate it for you, right? That's a very easy example. Another one can be you do get in front of the girl and then you're talking very quietly, but you're not aware that you're talking very quietly because you've not got somebody watching and listening in on your conversations. And so you're gonna walk over to 100 different girls talking quietly, and you're gonna bang your head against the wall trying to figure out why they're not responding well to you, why they keep walking past you, why they don't want to engage with you, and then that same time that you spent walking over to 100 girls repeating the same mistake, you come and work with me. I'm listening in and I'm going, dude, I could barely hear you. That's the problem. You're speaking too quietly, which also means you're scared of what you're doing, which also means she doesn't know what's going on because you're not making it clear, because you're not speaking with authority and conviction, and you're not giving her a compliment loudly. You're scared of other people hearing what you're doing, and because you're scared, she's scared. She's going, why is this guy pretending like this is a secret? Is he not allowed to hit on me? Is that what's going on? Is this a weirdo? And so you're going to do that 100 times, and I'm going to correct it one time, right? You're going to go if you're trying to build the skill set on your own, you're going to go up to 100 girls speaking too quietly or stopping them poorly or not knowing what to say or saying odd things in conversation. And I'm going to be able to correct that with a snap of a finger. It only takes 3 days to build the skill set to a level where you're actually getting dates lined up. Remember though, all right, the big asterisk here, I only work with guys who have something going for themselves already. All right. So I cannot help the guys that are genuine losers, basement dwellers, which is a lot of fucking guys that watch my content, unfortunately. Unfortunately, this space and this content does attract the Minecraft basement dweller type archetype. And they watch my content and they usually they got their cock in their hand while they're watching it and they're thinking, oh my God, this is so cool. I'm not talking to those fucking guys. All right. I'm talking to you. I'm talking to the guy that actually has his life somewhat on track, who's built success in other areas. I work with, I just got off a call with an attorney, matter of fact, right? So it's like I work with guys that are successful. I work with guys that have built their career to a point where they're satisfied with, or they already own a business that they're running and it's doing pretty well. I work with guys that have already been in the gym for a handful of years. Yeah, I work with guys that have something about them. It's just in this area, dating life, it's lacking, right? It's like, how is it that you can be making multiple six figures, you can be driving a nice fancy car, you can look decent, right? You have lean muscle, or maybe you got more, big muscles. I work with guys that are much more muscular than me. And how is it that all these things can be true, but every night you're going to sleep alone, every night you're swiping on apps, every time you go to work, you're trying to hit on your coworker and compete with the other lawyers in the firm, right? And how is it that is true if red pill is true, right? Because all these guys spew is build it and they will come. Oh my God, if you just become that fancy, you pursue that fancy profession, you get that fancy car, you buy that fancy watch, you wear those fancy designer clothes, then all you got to do is like walk into the city center, stand around, and the girls are going to sprint towards you. And then guys do it, and then guys try it. They go outside, nothing happens, they get pissed, they realize they spent the last 10 years focusing on the wrong areas. Not to say they were bad areas, good areas, good areas. Yeah, now they have a good career, now they have a high paying job, now they have a nice car and they feel good about themselves, but they still cannot get laid. That's a problem, isn't it? Isn't it a problem when you've done all of this stuff in the accessory areas of your life, thinking that it would lead to a result in the romantic area of your life, but the romantic area of your life is still non-existent. Yeah, you're still not getting laid. You're still watching the same porn. You're still swiping on the same apps. You're still mass DMing girls on Instagram, just like I used to do it. You're still trying to hit on your coworkers. You're still trying to build friend groups and try to hit on the girls in your friend group, and that makes things awkward also. Skip all that shit, all right? You're still trying to force yourself into alcohol-based environments where you're drinking tequila shots that you don't even want to be drinking in loud environments that you don't even want to be in, because usually I work with introverted guys, so I tend to attract introverted clients. And if they, if my experience is anything like their experience, they don't want to be there. When I used to go out to bars and clubs, oftentimes I didn't want to be there. I was there to get laid. Yeah. Nowadays, if I go out to a bar or a club, it's because I actually want to go out and hang out with my friends. 2 years ago, but when I was sexually frustrated, it was because I wanted to get laid. The problem is, I'm soft spoken. I don't like loud environments. I don't do well when people are loud and I have to talk, I have to raise my voice and I have to try to chat to a girl while there's while there's Usher playing the loudspeaker, whatever EDM or Bad Bunny's blaring. Yeah, I don't like being in those environments. So, what is our solution? Cold approach. Exactly what I teach. All right? So just remember, when I'm saying all this stuff, I'm only talking to a specific archetype of guy. Everybody else that watches the content, that usually it's trolls that say you have to be a certain height, certain race, certain profession, certain body fat percentage. Those guys, I'm not talking to them. They just happen to have clicked on my content. When I say that I can change your life in 3 days, I am talking to the guys that already have things going for themselves in life. I've never and I will never work with a client that is a complete waste of time, fuck up. They have nothing going. They just smoke weed all day. They've got a shit job. They work at a grocery store. They don't even like their life or what they're doing. Yeah, they're just look smacks. That's the only thing that they've done and accomplished in their life. I don't work with guys that are underachievers. I don't work with guys that have nothing going. I only work with guys that have something going for them. And that's why I can say very confidently that my clients are able to get results very quickly, because they actually have the other areas of their life buttoned up to a certain degree. Not to say that you need to be this fancy investment banker to work with me. Yeah, I've got examples of data analysts that I've worked with, massage therapists that I've worked with, yeah, that are self-employed. You don't need to have a fancy title. The fact is that the only criteria here is that you have something going. Yeah, you're running your business, or you're actually pursuing a career, and you're decently far into it, and you're not like some college grad entry level kid that has no money to spend and is trying to get something for nothing and is trying to lowball me on an offer. I don't even have time. Don't even book a call if that's you. All right. I only work with guys that are serious, and that are frustrated. Yeah. That they've built all this success in all this other areas of their life. And then they look at their dating life and they go, what the fuck is going on? Where are all the girls that I was promised from the red pill content creators? Where are they? Yeah. The same fallacy that I was sold as well. Yeah. If you don't know me, my background is in software. I was a software engineer. When I was 22 years old, I was making six figures remotely, and I was living in San Francisco, California, population of just under 1 million people. And as a six-figure, 22-year-old remote programmer living in a city with 1 million population, I could not get laid. Yeah, months at a time, 8 months at a time, swiping on apps. Finally, fat girl swipes on me. Yeah, fuck it, I guess I'll fuck her. That was my reality that I was living in. Six-figure, 22-year-old remote programmer. How is that possible? They told me build it and they will come. Where are they? Why are they not running towards me? It's because I was focused on the wrong areas. It's because I was sold a fallacy. Yeah. That's not the case. It's not build it and they will come. It's not get looks max, get gym max, get money max and they will come. No, it's develop yourself to the point where you can walk over to them. Don't try to do all the accessory things to make life easier for yourself so that they'll walk over to you, because newsflash, unless you're 6'8", unless you're an NBA player or a famous actor, they will not come to you. you have to walk over still. So it doesn't matter if you've built success in other areas of your life. If you're still too much of a coward to walk over to the girl, then you're fucked, aren't you? Then you're always going to be constrained to dating apps, aren't you? Then you're always going to have to go out to bars and clubs with your friends. You're going to lean on your friends. You're going to have to require your friends to be by your side, to get drunk with you, to push you into chatting with another drunk girl at a nightclub with sticky floors and music blaring. That's not the life that I wanted to live. Therefore, I did something about it. Yeah, I changed my reality. I paid somebody to teach me this skill set. It took me 30 days. I've been able to condense that down into 3 days. Yeah, you're saving, what is that? I'm not too good at math, but you're saving a whole lot of fucking time. Yeah, what is that, like 300% less time or 1,000% less time? What took me 30 days to build, I've been able to condense and package into 3 days. So I can teach my clients how to get this result in 3 days. Remember, big asterisks, you've already got something about you. You're not a cretin. Yeah, a cretin, whatever the word is. You're not a basement dweller. You're not somebody who can't make eye contact. You're not somebody who finds it difficult to socialize with people. Those guys, I can't help. Yeah, you've got a lot of work to do. I'm not saying you can't get there, but you're not ready for me. You're not ready for my product. Yeah, that sounded fruity as well. Pause that. But you're not ready. Yeah, if you're somebody who has trouble just articulating your thoughts and your words, you're just not ready to build this skill set. Those are the guys that tend to be trolling in the comment section, right? Because they go, Ephraim, you're promising that every guy can build this so quickly. No, I'm not. No, I am not. Not every guy can build this so quickly. In fact, most guys can't build this at all because most guys are addicted to playing Call of Duty. They have not been outside for the last 3 months. All they do is scroll Instagram and watch TikTok and YouTube shorts. They never go outside. They never interact and socialize with people. And all they do is chat about girls online in YouTube comment sections and Reddit forums. Those are most guys. Most guys I can't help. Yeah, the guys that I can help are the normal fucking guys. The guys that have a decent social life. They already have a couple friends they go out with every now and then. They already have a career that they're working hard towards and they're excelling at. Yeah, they already have some sort of a background in athletics, in any sort of creative arts. Yeah, they have depth to their character already. I cannot help most guys. I can only help guys that have something about them already. And if you have something about you already, then you can certainly build this skill set very, very, very quickly. In fact, 72 hours or less. Yeah, that is my promise. Obviously, your end of the bargain is you actually have to put forth effort and action and work. Yeah, because I can't, I make it sound like I'm handing you the playbook. I'm giving it to you, don't get me wrong, but you have to actually apply it. Yeah, which means you're going to have to get over some big, big fears that you probably have right now. Yeah, which is what I help my clients with. I've got my arm around them when we're in the field, and I'm teaching them how to walk over when they're shit scared. Yeah, because newsflash, the fear doesn't go away. You have to act in spite of the fear. And the best part is, you think that that's crazy, and it is a little crazy, until you realize that a big thing that women respond to well is guys that act in spite of fear. Yeah, we watch these actors and you probably me, right? You watch guys like me. I'm referring to like Hollywood actors that look ballsy in films, but then you watch like me in real life walking over and you watch my infields. You think I just don't have any fear. The reality is I have the same fear. I just walk over anyways. That's it. Yeah. And then you find out that girls respond really well to guys that just walk over anyways, even though they have fear, even though they're scared, they're stumbling over their words, they blank and they don't know what to say in certain parts of the conversation. This still happens to me to this day. Yet I'm able to line up all these dates, so many so that I'm giving out a fake phone number so that I cannot even be contacted by these women because I don't have time for the dates. How is that possible? Yeah, it's because you don't have to be perfect in order to get the dates. You just have to be persistent. You have to be courageous enough to walk over in the face of fear. You have to be scared. You feel the heart palpitations. You feel your stomach twisting up. You feel your hands shaking. And then you go, all right, let's walk over. Even though all of that is true, you still go over. And you can be visibly scared in front of the women that you're talking to, and you could even call it out. That's the best part. You could even go, by the way, you walk over, you give the compliment, and then you go, by the way, I'm so scared right now. Like, you look so good. You're making me so nervous, but I wanted to come over anyways. And you're going to see just how well a lot of women respond to even that, even you calling out the fact that you're scared. A lot of guys incorrectly define courage as being fearless, and that's not the correct definition. Courage is acting in spite of fear. Courage is having the fear within you, embracing it, and then doing the act that's scaring you anyways. That's courage. And that's what women respect. People respect it in general, but girls respond really well to it. All right, which is hilarious because if you look at me, I'm a scrawny fuck, not been to the gym in 2 months, have no fucking muscle on me, got no money in my bank account. Yeah, do not have a BMW, don't barely have a car. My 1996 truck that I drive back in San Francisco needs a new fucking transmission. It can only go about 65 miles per hour. It caps at that. If I go any higher, my transmission's gonna fucking explode. And yet I'm the guy that can walk over and line up dates in this manner. How is it possible? Because while most of my viewers have been maximizing every other area except for courage, I have been solely maximizing courage. Yeah. So while the majority of my viewers and the guys that I work with as clients one on one, while they usually have been maximizing their career, the career trajectory and strategy of how to climb that corporate ladder, they've been in the gym maximizing their bicep width. They've been maximizing the kind of car that they drive and their style, right? While they're maximizing their style, meaning they're buying designer clothes, I am wearing thrifted clothes. This black t-shirt is all it takes for me to get a date. So they think it takes a Louis Vuitton t-shirt, and it takes me a t-shirt that costs about $7 from H&M, I think. I order these online in bulk. I mean, it costs next to fucking nothing, right? They're maximizing their bicep width. They've spent the last 7 years in the gym trying to get swole as fuck, and then they look at me, the scrawny fuck, and they go, why is his dating life rock star, but I'm the one in the gym? It's because you're maximizing areas that are great. You look way better than me, don't get me wrong, but the problem is you were doing that in hopes that it would get you a dating life such as mine, and that's not the case. Yeah, it's like this is a good analogy. It's the same as if you've been in the gym trying to play soccer, or I guess not the gym, but on the field. It's like if you've been playing soccer for the last 10 years, hoping that by playing soccer every day, you would get really, really, really good at ping pong. What the fuck? Those things are not compatible in the slightest, are they? So guys that go to the gym all the time and they focus on their career and they focus on their extremities like looks maxing and hair maxing and jaw maxing and shit, and they focus on all these other auxiliary areas of life, hoping that it gets them better with girls. It's like guys playing soccer every day for 10 years, hoping that it gets them really good at ping pong. Why the fuck would playing soccer every day get you any better at ping pong? It would not, would it? Yeah? Working on foot-eye coordination and agility would not get you good at a task that takes hand-eye coordination and not really agility, just fucking focus and speed and I don't know, ping pong skills, right? They're not compatible, are they? Yeah, so recognize that you've been lied to just like I was lied to. I just came to way earlier than most guys do, right? It took me until I was 23 years old to go, wait a second. I think I'm on the wrong train here. Yeah, I'm trying to get the train that takes me to hot girl land. I'm trying to get on the train that takes me to getting the type of girl that I want whenever I want without having to swipe on an app for her. That's the train I thought I was on when I was maximizing all this red pill shit. And then when I was 23, I realized I'm on the wrong train. Yeah, this train is just going to no man's land. This train is going to looks max, give me a good physique, make me feel good about myself and make me look cute, make me have a lot of money. But the problem is that does not translate to getting hotter girls whenever I want. I still was swiping on apps when I was doing that stupid shit. Yeah, and that's the issue is most guys find themselves, most of my clients that I've worked with find themselves in that position, and it sucks, doesn't it? Because all these guys they talked with so much authority when I was growing up. Yeah, they would talk and they would say, no, this is how you do it. You want girls, this is what you do. You got to get in the gym. Yeah, you got to get your money, your finances right. You got to do this and that. And then I did it. And then I was 22. I was a fucking overachiever, right? I was 22 with a 6-figure job. Most of my peers were not able to achieve that. Usually they were on last year university at that point. Yeah, most of the fucking world was not able to achieve that, yeah? And so I was looking around like, well, if I'm doing pretty decent for myself, why is my dating life so below average? Why does it take me 8 months at a time to get a fat girl to swipe right on me on a fucking dating app if I'm so above average in these other areas of my life? It's because I was on the wrong train. I was listening to the wrong people, yeah? So now you come across content like mine, and it's so opposing this red pill theory that you probably think it's fucking fake. A lot of my guys, a couple of my clients even, they've told me once we work together, right? Once they're lining up dates with my playbook, they come around and they go, Ephraim, it's crazy, man. Because when I first came across your content, I couldn't even believe it. And I go, huh. Crazy, isn't it? Crazy. Crazy how much we've been lied to, that we see something that's actually true and we think it's false. Isn't that insane, right? So yeah, the reality is, if you're anything like the clients that I typically work with, you're an overachiever, you're a high achiever. You like to you set goals for yourself, you accomplish them. You're doing pretty fucking decent in your career or your business that you run. You look decent, right? You're not a fat fuck. I've yet to work with a fat fuck client. Probably wouldn't. But the main issue that you're faced with right now in your life is your dating life is still not sorted, and you've sorted all this out, but your dating life still sucks. You probably even have a vibrant friend group, and you probably all go out in packs to nightclubs and shit, and you probably all go back. You take an Uber back to one of your friend's house, and you keep taking shots alone, right? Sausage fest, and you end up playing fucking poker till 3 a.m. trying to swipe on apps, and you're going, wait a second, we all went out with the intention of getting laid, and now none of us have gotten laid, and we're all back in the same apartment drinking fucking Tecates and playing poker until 4 a.m. And then you try to do it again on Saturday night, and then Sunday you'd go out for mimosas and you try to do it again, and that doesn't happen. And then you rock up to Monday hard, yeah, just fucking horny as ever, mad that this weekend didn't work, but you and your boys, you go, yeah, but next weekend we'll crush it though. Next weekend we'll do it all over again, and this time one of us will get lucky, certainly. And then you do it all over again next weekend, the same fucking thing happens. How can I say this? Because I was living the life too. I know how this goes. All right, I know how this goes. Yeah, you all put on your nice outfit, right? I put on my nice corduroy jacket. I meet my boys out in North Beach, and we go, all right, boys, all of us are getting laid tonight, boys. We're gonna do this. All right, we're gonna go out to Tupelo's, right? These little venues I used to go to. We're gonna go to Tupelo's in San Francisco, North Beach District, and we're all gonna be spitting game, chatting game to all these fucking girls. And you know, the best part is they were actually decent. Yeah, the guys that I would go out with, we'd actually be decent at going up to girls, and it still would never, nothing would happen. Nothing would materialize because I didn't have a system in place. Yeah, because I didn't know what the fuck I was doing, and I didn't belong in those environments anyways. Yeah, no shit. The introverted guy who's soft spoken, who people can barely hear when I'm not in a loud environment, has trouble when there's fucking music, rock music blaring. Yeah, sticky dance floor, girls wandering around and floating around and shit. And no shit, I had trouble making things happen in those environments. No shit. So this is why I learned cold approach, and this is why I use this skill set instead. So now I never have to do any of that shit ever again if I don't want to, because when I want to date, I can just go outside, I can just walk over to like 5 girls, and probably one of them likes me and wants to go on a date with me that week. Genuinely. Probably one of them likes me enough. Yeah, unless they're all fucking married or taken or in a rush, then probably one of these girls that I walk over to in the span of 20 minutes likes me enough to come out on a date with me. This is what I teach my clients how to do. All right? Whether it be you on your lunch break, when you're at the office, right? You're working in the financial district of the city you live in, and you're on your lunch break, and you say, let me go to Subway to get myself a sandwich, and you pass by 3 hot girls on your way. Well, usually what guys do is absolutely nothing. Usually they just look at the girl and go, she's fucking banging, isn't she? All right, on my way to Subway now. But when you work with me, then what do? You see the girl and you go, damn, she's banging. Maybe she likes me. Let's go over and find out. And you walk over, you say hello, and maybe the first one's taken, the second one's taken, and the third one is like, I like you. Wow, yeah, we can do drinks. Yeah, it's almost Friday. Let's do it Friday. And now you got yourself a fucking date lined up with a girl that you actually like. You've already spoken to. She's gotten to know a bit about you and your personality because you're not hiding behind a Tinder algorithm. And now you got yourself a fucking date for Friday night. How easy was that? Yeah, yeah. But here's the thing. This sounds very easy in theory, doesn't it? So my challenge to the viewers is to go out and try to do what I'm talking about, right? Try to do it. Your lunch break, go out. Your intention, 3 approaches today before I go back, clock back into work. Or maybe this is, if you don't work in person, make it after work. You go out 5 p.m. to 6 p.m. You're going out with the intention of approaching 3 girls on your way to the grocery store or on your way to the gym, whatever. And just try it. Give it a shot, right? Because if you're anything like me, you won't be able to do it. All right. I could not even do it. I tried it. I walked out of my apartment. I walked to downtown San Francisco and I did nothing. I looked at girls. I didn't chat to any of them. I was too scared. Right. And so this is where Ephraim comes in. This is why Ephraim left the software world behind, because I see that there's a big mountain of fear here, and this is what my product solves. All right, most guys, they come across the content, they see the infields, they go, this guy looks like a fucking superhero. How is he able to do this shit? He's not even gym max, he doesn't even have money, he's not stylish, and he's not wearing designer clothes. How can this average looking fuck named Ephraim walk over to all these girls and set up all these dates? It's because I've been practicing this shit for 2.5 years, and I've refined it and I've packaged it now into a fucking product. All right. So that's my challenge to you. Watch my infield, go out and try to do the same thing in your city. And if it goes well, bravo, you can stop watching my content now. You can go on your fucking dates. But what I suspect is going to happen is what happens to all of the clients that end up reaching out with me to work with me privately one-on-one coaching is they try it, they can't do it. They try it, maybe, a few of them are able to walk over, right? We've got Isaac as an example of a guy that was somewhat self-taught, right? He decided he would walk over and he did it. And he did it 600 times. And I think he got like 2 dates, 600 approaches, 2 dates, could not get laid still. 4-year dry streak. And so finally Isaac reaches out to me and he goes, dude, I've done 600 approaches and I'm doing it just like you do it. Why am I not getting a result? And I go, well, you don't look bad, right? You look pretty good, Isaac. So it's not that, right? You don't look like a fucking creature who just got out of their mother's basement for the first time in 2 years. So it's not that. And then he told me about his career and I'm like, oh, okay, you're a data analyst. It's not that, right? You're making good money in London. Not bad. And then he told me that he has hobbies and interests. And I'm like, all right, so you're not a weird PUA guy who just peruses the street all day, every day, trying to get dates. So it's not that, right? You're not a weirdo. You like he likes to play the drums. He has aspirations of being in a band one day. He likes to write blogs. And so I'm like, all right, so this guy is normal. He has hobbies, he has interests, he has friends, he looks good, he has a good career. So it's none of that. And he says he's done 600 approaches. So I'm going, what could be the problem? And then I go, all right, Isaac, this is before we'd worked together. I go, Isaac, all right, describe to me what your approach looks like. And then he describes it to me and I go, oh, well, that's the fucking problem, Isaac. You did 600 bad reps. Yeah. You watched my content. You tried to apply your interpretation of my approach. But the problem is even listening to you describe how you typically go about your approach is wrong, which means you did 600 approaches wrong. No shit, you have no fucking dates to show for it. No shit, you're still on a 4-year fucking dry streak. You've done your interpretation of my approach, which is a lot different than my actual approach. And so then he paid for coaching. This is before an in-person experience. He paid for virtual coaching where I described to him what I actually do. I set challenges for him to do what I actually do. And he already started course correcting. And then in 2 weeks' time, after going from no guidance to 2 weeks of guidance from Ephraim, the guy got laid. 2 weeks. It took him 2 weeks of virtual coaching to get laid, right? Because once again, he already had stuff going for him. He was already a fuckable guy, as my friend Christian would say. The guy was already fuckable. He just didn't know how to communicate his fuckability to these girls. Yeah, he was doing it in such a tepid way. He made himself look like a pussy. He wasn't even a pussy. He just made himself look like one. Yeah, so we corrected that. In 2 weeks, he got laid. And then a couple months later, I was in Belgrade, which is not too far from London, and Isaac goes, hey, Ephraim, are you doing immersions yet? And I go, yeah, man, let's book a call. So I agreed to coach him one-on-one as a private client. He flies to Belgrade and he goes, look, I'm already doing decent with the skill set that you coached me virtually on. I'm able to set up a couple dates here and then, but it's not at the frequency which I would like. And so I go, all right, come over to Belgrade. Yeah, he sent me over the money. He paid the invoice. And then I go, let's do this. And you know, hopefully some of you guys that have been following the content can see his progression, but we're only on part 3 of his series. It's on pause while I'm out here in London. And I've already given him some more coaching since we've been out here in London together. But you can see his fucking journey, right? So you've only seen the third part up till the third part of that series, and there's 7 more parts to go just in Belgrade. And now his approach looks way different because when he came out, the first thing I saw was that he wasn't smiling when he was walking over to these girls, right? He had a very nervous wreck look on his face, right? So remember, 28-year-old data analyst, money in the bank, making good money, has hobbies, right? Likes to play the drums, likes to go out with his friends for pints and shit. Has a solid style, right? Look at how he's dressed. He looks good, right? Yet when he was walking over to the girl, he was so nervous, and it's okay to be nervous, but he wasn't putting her at ease. Instead, he was making her kind of flustered and scared a little bit by having a straight, nervous look on his face. So the guy did one approach, and I go, Isaac, I've already identified a problem, my guy. You're not smiling at all. You look like a nervous wreck. No wonder these girls are not stopping for you. And then we tweaked that, and all he did was smile when he walked over, and the girl started smiling back before he'd even said anything. This is what I mean. He did 600. This took him 10 months. 600 approaches when he was following along, watching my content, and he thought that he was replicating what I do. And then he did one approach in front of me and I go, dude, I already see a fucking problem. You're not even smiling. You did this 600 times and you're not smiling still? This is what I mean. Why would you spend 10 months banging your head against the wall trying to do this alone when I can just sort this shit for you in 3 days? Yeah, 3 days. I mean, it's here we go. I'm stuttering now. It comes down to what you value more. Do you value more your time or do you value more your money? Because if you value your time more, why are you going to spend years trying to figure this out on your own? You can just get this sorted in 3 days and move the fuck on with your life. You can stop watching my content. You can unsubscribe and you can go on your own dates. The time you're spending watching my streams and my infields trying to figure this out on your own because you're being a cheap fuck, you can just stop doing that now because you have dates signed up. Because this area of your life is sorted, you can graduate from Poole University. Here's your diploma. Now you get dates. Go. Get the fuck out of here. You don't need to watch this content anymore. And now we can recycle. Yeah, now we can add in the guys that are still in the position that I used to be in life who haven't worked with me yet. And then they're going to see my client successes and my client wins. They're going to see me get dates. They're going to see Isaac get dates. They're going to see all my other fucking clients get dates around the world. And then they're going to go, why am I trying to do this on my own? It doesn't make sense, does it? Why would you try to figure this out alone when I can sort it for you in 3 fucking days? All right, link in the description if you want to apply for coaching, okay? All right, so 36 minutes in, the intro is done. That's what I do though. Yeah, that is my product. All right. So I was a programmer, I was a tech salesman, and I left that world behind to pursue this life and this mission. All right. So I left a 6-figure remote job behind because I didn't want that what I consider to be that easy route. Yeah, I could have taken the skill, I could have had that remote job, I could have flown around the world and banged a lot of girls in the process. But I think I have a bigger mission to accomplish here. I think that I'm put here so I can help guys out of this fucking pit, this deep, dark pit of sexual frustration that is running rampant, especially because of technology. Because a lot of guys, just like me, were born with a fucking iPhone in their hand, and they didn't learn how to socialize normally, right? Because before this technology, we were forced to socialize. If you wanted to get laid, you had to go outside and do it. You had to go figure out how to chat to the girl, right? And then as soon as we were introduced to technology and Tinder came around, guys started thinking that they can offload that difficult activity of actually walking over and being courageous. They thought that they could offload that to an app. And then what did they realize? Oh, the one thing that's giving us a shot as a guy that's not 6'8", right? What about the rest of us? Yeah, average height is what, 5'9", 5'10"? So I'm 5'9". So I'm either average height or below average height. This is average height though. Most guys look like me or somewhere around my height. So if we're not the 6'6" Giga Chad, yeah, that these red pillars claim you must be, the only place that I agree that is true is on a fucking dating app. Yeah, because we have no way of displaying our courage, which is a big characteristic that these women are filtering for. They're going, well, all things equal, no shit, I'm gonna pick the guy that's 6'8". That's the same thing as like, all things equal, no shit, I'm gonna pick the girl that's hot. Yeah, that has a banging body over the fat chick. Yeah, why would I not? All things equal, right? So that's the thing though. All things are not equal, are they? Yeah. Just because the guy is tall as shit doesn't mean he's not a pussy, right? So in fact, I had a client, John, who was about 6'6", right? But he came out and I said, all right, go approach her. And he said, I can't do it. I can't do it, right? Now, obviously, I didn't ridicule him. I helped him over that fear. And then on the first day of our coaching experience together, the guy got a fucking instant date with the hottest girl on the strip, right? But that's the thing. These red pill guys are saying, oh yeah, the guys that are 6'6", they're the only guys that can figure this out and get dates. And then John comes around and goes, Ephraim, I can't get dates. And I go, well, based on red pill, you should be able to get all the fucking dates you want. You're 6'6", right? Yeah, because the girls, they're not filtering for the tallest guy. Yeah, maybe on Tinder they are, because once again, they can't see your personality on Tinder. They can't see how fun of a guy you are. They can't see that you have balls. All they see is a fucking metric, yeah, a weight and a height. And they go, well, if I have to choose between this guy and this guy, and I can't get to know either of their personalities, let me just pick the guy that's more, physicality-wise, more physically gifted. Why would you not? Right? That's the problem. It doesn't favor the normal guy. And what we lack in physicality, we make up for in courage. The problem is you cannot display courage online. You have to do it in real life. And this is what I teach guys how to do. And if you don't have the courage yet, this is how I teach guys to go from a very nervous, non-courageous wreck to a guy that can just walk over to the girl without feeling all of this fear, right? Because at one point, you will lose that fear, right? Now, when you watch my infield, I don't look nervous anymore, and it's because I'm not. Yeah, I mean, very rarely do I get nervous in these conversations. It does happen, but now I walk over and I go, "Hey, how's it going? You're hot. You look good. Do you want to go out? Yeah? I'll take your number down. Okay, I'll take you out, and then we'll get drinks." And then the subtext is, and then I'll bend you over. And now I can just do it with my fucking eyes closed. It's boring to me now. Yeah, I got to a point where like it's boring to walk over to a girl and flirt. It's boring. That's how many times I've done it, which proves to you, the viewer, that this is not going to always be super super scary. Now me, I overkilled it, right? I got way too good at it. I got way unnecessarily good at it. But the reason is I wanted to get extremely good so I can help other guys navigate how to get decently good. All right. So the better I get, the easier it is for me to bring you up here with me. But the point is, you don't have to get to this point where you've done multiple thousands of approaches. I've only done this because this is the life that I chose. I wanted to get crazy good so I could teach other guys how to do this. But most of my clients, man, they had their dates within the first 10 to 100 approaches, somewhere between there. They've got their dates lined up. If they like the girl enough, they'll just shack up with her, right? I got off the phone with an attorney yesterday who said that he just wanted to find his girlfriend, the future wife and mother of his children. And I go, yeah, we can get that sorted pretty fucking quick. Yeah, because he already had something about him. Yeah, he already had a rock solid career, right? He was making good fucking money. But he still, right? Once again, he told me, I still have no luck with girls. I still cannot get any fucking dates. And I go, look, you didn't, it's not that you wasted your time in this career field. It's just that you maximizing this career field is a lot different than you maximizing what Ephraim did, right? The courage aspect of life. And so, yeah, it's something we can get sorted very fucking quickly. It doesn't need to take years. It only takes years if you try to figure it out on your own. More power to you for saving some money and wasting some time. More power to you, but yeah, yeah, I just don't see any value in it. So look, we'll just be quick with the title. I got fucking blown out all day today. Didn't set up a single date. Did my first uncut infield in a new area called King's Cross. I'd never been. It was cool. The first few conversations went decent. The first conversation, I approached a pair of girls. They happened to be American. And I told them, let's do a double date. I got a friend. They declined. Then the next conversation, a girl really liked the approach and the compliment, but she had a boyfriend. And then after that, it was just blow out, blow out, blow out. Quick conversation here. I'm in a rush there. I got a boyfriend there. Boom, 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 boom. We walked all the way to Camden. So it was a 25-minute walk from King's Cross to Camden area. And it was completely dead on the walk. And then when we got to Camden, I was surrounded by people I did not like. Not that they were bad people, just not my style of people. It was all leather jacket wearing, kind of like they had either a mohawk or they had colored hair, a lot of piercings, like a lot of piercings, just like a rock, metal, grunge type crowd. And that's just not my crowd. Yeah, I just don't fit in there. So we walked around Camden for about 40 minutes. I think I did like 3 approaches. I found 3 girls that I found attractive. And it was actually busy as fuck. And there were only 3 girls in 40 minutes that I found attractive. So I looked to Dirty Dan and I go, all right, well, thank you for showing me around Camden. Let's get the fuck out of here. I don't want to waste my filming time, waste my money. So we hopped on the train. We got to Leicester Square, which is more central London. And then I finished the day with another uncut. Blowout, 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 blowout. And then the very last conversation of the day went really good. Lasted about 7 minutes. It was a girl from Germany that was leaving tomorrow. And then I told her, she said she's going to a musical today. Mamma Mia. I'd never heard of that shit. But she said she's going to a musical today. And then I say, cool, I want to take you out or after the musical. She agrees. And so then I hand her my phone. And as she's putting in her phone number, she goes, by the way, I should probably tell you that I have a boyfriend. And I go, oh, yeah, you probably should tell me that. And then she says, so like, as long as you're cool with going out as friends. And then I take my phone back out of her hand and I go, no, let's not go out. You have a boyfriend? We're not going out then. But look, I hope you enjoy your last day here in London. Safe travels back to Germany. And then I left her where she stood. So once again, abundance mindset, abundance mentality, because there was a point in my life where if I somehow found myself in a conversation with a hot German girl who had a boyfriend and she somehow was agreeing to go out with me for drinks, there was a point in my life where I probably would have said, yeah, we can go out as friends. And then I would have gotten to the bar, bought her some drinks and tried to hit on her and flirt anyways, hoping that she would cheat on her boyfriend with me. But nowadays, I don't need to do that, right? I don't. I have such an abundant dating life. Excuse me. I have such an abundant dating life now that if a girl's even somewhat taken, right, even if she says like, "Oh, I'm talking to somebody," I'll just go, "Oh, all right. Well, I'm not going to come between that," and then I'll just walk over to another girl. Yeah, I don't need to do any of these desperate things anymore. So yeah, I left her there, and then we did the outro, which means I set up 0 dates today, 0, and that's okay. Because every day is independent of the previous day and the next day, just like every approach is independent. All right. So some days go amazing. Matter of fact, this past Sunday, if you go watch that live stream, the first conversation of the day at Liverpool Street Station turned into a date. The girl from today's video, actually, the Cypriot, right? That was Sunday. Tomorrow's video, which you're going to see, is this. I think the third conversation of that day on Brick Lane, and that turned into a date. So there you go. So like Sunday is an example of a day where more of like the approaches that I did, I got more dates than I did not dates on Sunday. And then today is an example of a day where I got 0 dates and I did a whole lot of approaches. And so I like to make this as very realistic for the viewer because other guys that try to teach the skill set, they lie. They only show their wins. They only show the footage that goes well. They never show their rejections, and it paints an unrealistic picture to the viewer. It makes it look like you can get to a point where you never get rejected, and that's just not the case. It's impossible. Some girls are already going to be in relationships. Some girls will be in a rush to get wherever they're going, and then some girls will simply not like you. There's no man on this earth that every single girl wants in a romantic way. There is no man, right? Not even Jesus himself. And I'm not religious, so hopefully I just offended some people there. But genuinely, there is no man on this earth that every girl is going to want in a romantic sexual context, which means that you and I can walk over to every girl on this earth and some will like us and some will not like us, and that is just okay. And so that's what I teach my clients how to be okay with that, to get over that big hurdle there of like, oh, I just don't want to get rejected. Yeah, I don't ridicule them for that. I don't ridicule them for that fear. I don't make fun of them for it. I just put my arm around them and I help them work through it. Okay, so look, if you're a guy who resonates with what I've just said on this live stream, if you're a guy who is banging his head against the wall, pissed off that he keeps swiping on apps, pissed off that day in and day out he's not lining up dates, he's having to rely on algorithms or rely on his friends to get drunk with, to go out to bars and shit and still not do anything. He's relying on hitting on his coworkers or the girls from his university. Here's another big one that I know that 90% of the people viewing this live stream are doing right now. I know this factually. All right. This was a big one that I did that I know my friends did as well. Girls that you used to go to high school or college with, right? Even though it's been 5 to 10 years since you graduated, you're still trying to get them romantically. I know for a fact, oh my God, I know so many guys that are watching this do this right now. Yeah, they're hitting on girls that they used to go to high school with or college with, and they're like every now and then they're liking the story, they're sending them a DM, they're still Snapchatting them, they're hitting them up, they're going, oh, how have you been, Sally? Yeah, remember me, Ephraim from statistics class? Remember me? Yeah, how you been? Oh, I noticed you're back in San Francisco now. Wow, how long you here for? Oh, we should totally go and grab a drink or something. And they're trying to snake their way into the lives of the girls that they used to go to school with. I know it. I know it. I know you're grinning too. I know you're fucking grinning listening to me say this because I'm just spewing truth, aren't I? I'm just relaying to you the life that I used to live that I know majority of other guys were living and pretty much all of my clients were living as well. All right. So click the fucking link. All right. If you're tired of if you're tired of using these funny methods, funny, right? Now that I get all the fucking dates I can ever imagine and ever want, it's just funny to me. The stuff I used to do and the stuff I know other guys do as well. It's just funny, right? Because once you get to this side, right? Once your dating life is sorted, you're going to look back at your previous self and you're just going to laugh. And you're going to go, I can't believe the things I used to do to get pussy. I cannot believe that I used to stay up until 3 a.m. swiping on apps. I cannot believe that I used to pay, what is it, $10.99, $15.99 a month for unlimited swipes on Tinder. I can't believe I used to do that. I can't believe I used to set the range on Tinder to like 100 miles, meaning I used to consider driving 100 miles if I got a match from a girl that was 100 miles away. That's like over an hour. I used to consider driving over an hour just to get laid because I had so few options, even though I lived in a city with a million population. Yeah, just under San Francisco, California. I somehow had to set my aid or my what is it, radius, distance radius to 100 miles, right? Not to mention I put anywhere from 18 to like 45. I was like, some girls got to swipe right on me, right? Someone. I just laugh at who I used to be and the things I used to do, right? Same thing with when I was working these in-person jobs and I had a coworker who was like kind of cute. She wasn't even that cute. It's just she was the cutest girl in the office, sometimes the only girl in the office. And I went, well, fuck. I mean, she's forced to talk to me 8 hours a day. We're in the same office. Maybe she'll find a liking to me eventually, and then she'll come out with me and she'll blow me one of these days. Just funny methods. Yeah, I know guys resonate with this. I can't believe I used to get on Instagram and send DMs to girls that I thought were hot in hopes that they would come out on dates with me because I DM'd them. And I would send like 300 girls a month, all the same fucking DM. No results. Funny, funny methods. Funny methods. And now, 2.5 years later, I'm in the middle of London. And if at any point I want a date, I can just go outside and get one. I can just go outside, chat to a couple girls, and more likely than not, one of them will want to be on a date with me. Right? Today is an example of the case where that did not happen. But yesterday is an example of a day where it did happen. And the day before that, it did happen. And the day before that, it did happen. In fact, a lot of times it happened throughout those days. And then today is an example of a day where I walked out and it didn't happen. And that's okay. Yeah, because tomorrow's a new day. And I'll go out and I'll probably line up a date tomorrow. And the best part is I've gotten to a point now with my dating life where I don't even go on the dates. Right? I'm not saying I'm always doing that. Don't worry. I gotta eat too. I gotta eat too. Don't worry. Right? After this month of filming, I'll be doing my own damage wherever I end up. But the point is, when, you know, I guess the point I'm getting at here is I've gotten to a point now where I can separate business from pleasure now. Most guys, they might have a job interview that they've prepared the last 4 years to get and crush, and then they get a little glimpse of potential pussy and they throw it all away because, oh my God, she invited me out for drinks, or did my Tinder date finally agreed for drinks, but she's leaving tomorrow and I have a presentation tomorrow, an interview. Fuck it, I'm just gonna go on the date. Then they wake up, then they're hungover, then they fuck up the entire interview. There goes 4 years down the drain. That degree that they worked for, now they got to try to line up another interview, all for some female validation. It doesn't have to be like that, boys. Yeah, that's one of the most powerful things that you get when you build the skill set successfully, is you no longer have to prioritize pussy. And it's such a powerful place to be when you no longer have to prioritize it and you can think with a clear mind. You think with your brain instead of your balls. A lot of guys, as soon as they hit puberty, they forget what that even means. They just think with their balls for the rest of their life until they get to like age 74, when our sex drive finally tapers off and they go, let me do a crossword puzzle today. Right? Finally, guys get the release from the sex drive and they go, oh, nice. Now I'm old. Now my balls are dried up and they look like raisins. Let me pull out the newspaper and read that now that I don't have to try to get laid all the time. But until that point, yeah, unless you're neutered or you're 75, then you have the same curse that I do, that every fucking guy does, which is you wake up and you have a ridiculous sex drive, and that needs to be satiated at some point or another. Some guys turn to prostitution and they buy hookers. Some guys, they give up entirely and they close the door and they just play Minecraft all day and they jerk off to anime characters. Some guys, they turn to force and violence and they assault women, and thankfully those guys end up in prison. And then some guys like Ephraim just say, enough's enough. I'm tired of doing this fucking swiping on apps. I'm tired of going out to bars and clubs and trying my best that way. Let me just learn how to walk over to the girl when I see her and I like her. And then you get this sorted, and then you never have to worry about it again. And then you get to move on with your life and attack the next mission that you have. All right. So, yeah. Link in the description below if you'd like to apply for coaching. This is what I do. This is what I teach. I help guys over this fear. I've helped plenty in different countries, different continents even. All right. So if you'd like to be one of those people, then apply for coaching. First link in the description below. Otherwise, I'll talk to you boys tomorrow. I hope you enjoyed. Hope you learned something. Onwards and fucking upwards. Let's go. Damn, damn, see? You don't have to be perfect, do you? I tried to press end right there so that I would end on a sick note, and I missed the fucking button. So now I look like a tit. The best part is I've done this in conversation, right? When I'm chatting to a girl, I try to sound smooth. I say the wrong thing. I stumble over my fucking words, and then I go, Yeah, look, I'm blanking. You're so hot right now, and then the conversation still goes well, and then we still line up a date. Let's try this again. Maybe I don't look like a tit this time. All right. I hope you enjoyed. All right. I'll talk to you tomorrow. Onwards and fucking upwards. Yeah, this was a mess. Whatever. Hope you boys